Oh, now we're talking, baby.
Son.
Let's go.
Stop. Cotton Sun.
Cotton
Anyways.
Sun.
Fate decided.
Let's get this party started.
Craving something scary.
Hello, Sydney.
Killjoy Jake.
Don't you swear at me, you little shit! Don't you ever raise your voice at me! I am your mother!
Night Watch Zone.
What's the boogeyman?
As a matter of fact, it was.
Get up!
The collective has spoken.
What's up, everybody? It is Monday night, and you know what that means. It's time for the collective. And brothers, here we are, ready to do this thing as best as we can. And obviously a big shout out to our brother Steven. And for you guys that are here tonight, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. We appreciate all the support and all the love and and prayers and so forth. It means a lot to us and to this community and for you guys, for each other. You know, it's been a week, guys. It's been a week. But how's it going, Jake? How's it going, Fate?
It's going good. It's going the best that it can, right? trying to keep the spirits high, trying to keep the mood positive and all that.
Yeah. Yep. No doubt. How about you, Fate?
Yeah, facts. Likewise, we're here. We're doing this. Steven wanted it, right? We got him right next to us as it should be, and we got the community, and like we said in the the last stream we did on Thursday, right? Like, we'll rally together. We have us as the community coming together to be able to kind of be a shoulder for each other. You know what I mean? So, just doing right by Craven.
Absolutely. I mean, like you said, man. We literally had that conversation, and he said, put my picture up, keep the memory alive. And look, man, that's exactly what we're gonna do.
Thanks.
As best as possible. I mean, we're gonna be talking about him. I didn't even say this backstage to you guys, but I'm literally I have his link in so many of my streams and content on my channel. It's truly not even funny. But I'm gonna put him on the rest. It's going to be a little bit of process, but I'm going to put his link to his channel on as many things as I can. And we're going to keep the hope alive. We're going to keep the memory alive. So
exactly.
All right. Well, fellas, we obviously have been talking a lot about Scream 7 and kind of the roller coaster that it is and that it will be and so forth. One thing I wanted to talk about with you guys especially is how is the community feeling about it, like as far as the vibes that you're getting? Because I've had quite a few people kind of talk about they don't think, or they don't have a lot of confidence in what's going to happen in 7, not so much because they don't have confidence in Kevin or Nev coming back or anything like that, but more so because it's kind of the whole retread idea of the same story. And I know we've all talked about that, but have you guys heard or felt any particular vibes about 7 that make you just sit back and say, this is a thing?
If I said no, I'd be lying.
Right.
No, I'm worried because the whole situation's weird. You know what I mean? It's not like we just got 7 announced and Kevin Williamson was directing. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of people heard that announcement and they were sold. But like, to me, there was so much bad press when this movie first got announced. There was, our main characters got eliminated and fired. Then we had our director leaving the project over death threats. And like it, all of that just puts a bad taste in my mouth with this project. And we can't just ignore those updates,
Right.
It sucks. And I hate hate even bringing it up. You know, I hate to be that, but don't shoot the messenger. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where we have to acknowledge the history of this film, but at the same time, hopefully they've recovered and been able to, deliver a good product despite all the rewrites, all the reworkings, all that nasty stuff. But this is a franchise that endures. This is a franchise that can bounce back like that. I mean, Scream 3 is a movie that I think should have failed entirely based on all of its problems behind the scenes. And they still, in my humble opinion, were able to pump out a product that is still solid enough for me to enjoy it. I don't think it's a rougher Scream film, but because of those problems, but it's still quality. It is still a fun time to watch despite its shortcomings. And I think that Scream 7 hopefully will, meet that challenge the same way they did back in 2000.
Well said. Well said. How about you, Fate?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's always a mixed bag of people. You get the people that there's a boycott campaign going around on Twitter. I saw that. There's people that and it's hilarious because almost all of them will probably watch the movie anyway.
Of course they will.
They always do. But you have the boycott community. You have the you have the people that are critical about it. I mean, you always have one extreme or the other, right? You have the people that are just little it'll be okay one way or another type thing, and then you have the people that are this is gonna be the greatest movie ever. It's just. You're never going to keep everyone happy. At the end of the day, just give us a good film. That's all I care about, right? This appears to be the beginning of a trilogy, right? We know Scream 8 is starting. So if that's real, or not starting, is greenlit, right? So if they're going to do 2 films, they're going to do a third if they can, right? Yeah, of course, right? So my thing is that this film is the most important. Right, because this is the film that sets up and establishes everything you're going to try to get across in the next few films. And so, we saw with the Exorcist, and we talked about The Strangers on Thursday and stuff like that. And all it takes is for this movie to just go terrible, and now you ruin all of your plans. And so you have the kind of the formula, the very simple formula. You have that here. With Sydney and Gail kind of being more in the forefront again, and I'm somebody that's on record. I personally want them to kind of move away from them at some point, but I get it. Given the circumstances, given everything that happened with Melissa Barrera behind the scenes, what's the safest bet? It's you bring back Sydney, you tell a new story with her, and that's your moneymaker. So just stick with what works. So I'm good. I'm on board. I get it. Let's do it, but do right. Last thing I need, the problem is the track record with these two, Sydney and Gail, have not been great.
Right.
And that's where my concerns lie. And so I understand people's concerns. Again, there's extremities, but there's people that have a, general kind of thought. I based on 5 and 6, I have my concerns. Sure, I'm on board with that. So there are people that I think have, a sound mind, I guess, so to speak, on kind of their thoughts and opinions for this film. But the way you calm that is a good film. So
yeah, that's true. But do you think that possibly, and I guess I'll point it to you, Jake. Do you think possibly the whole reasoning, or not the whole, but I'm sure it's not the whole, but part of the reasoning that Gail and Sydney definitely didn't light up the world in 5 and 6 is because they were focused on, Sam and Tara.
Yeah, 100%. And that's, it's weird because that's why in my head, when people are like, oh, we're going back to Sydney and Gail, it's kind of why, there's this part of me in the back of my brain that I'm just like, I don't know if I want that now because, I hate to say it, but I just didn't really get much from those characters in the last 2 films. I think they're great in Screams 1 through 4. But for me, I think they've been doing this balancing act that most requels do, where it's we're trying to tell this new story and keep up with the oldies at the same time. And I think, what's the motivation there? Well, it's the studio saying, you're trying to create a new audience, with the new characters, and you're also trying to bring back the folks from yonder, from the past, who are coming back. And I get that, but it's just making a lot of movies way too complicated and way too complex. And 5 and 6, I feel would have just been better films overall had they just stuck to one side or the other. Make an entirely fresh Scream movie with all new characters, or just do just a legacy sequel with just the legacy cast. And I worry that, you know, this is going to be something similar, but we're hearing from, you know, the third party so who knows if it's true or not, that this is a Sydney focused Scream film. You know, this is not a split between her and her daughter, which the moment they announced Isabel May is going to play Sydney's daughter. And by the way, that's the only new character where we have a confirmed name outside of Joel McHale. That's just worrisome. It's like, okay, so you're doing the same thing as 5 again. You know, I hope that's not the case. Like, to me, if you want to do something really successful with Scream, it's either do that fresh story with all new characters, leave the legacy characters in the past, or do this, which I hope that's what Scream 7 is. Just a Sydney focused Scream movie with some new characters, of course, but with the focus being on a singular person opposed to just splitting it across multiple people like 5 and 6 kind of tries to do.
Yeah. Well, go ahead, Fate. You can go first.
No, I was just gonna say real quick, like, but that's part of my problem, right? Like, you established and are now going to continue what you established, a huge, monumental, groundbreaking thing. Talk about Sidney Prescott's husband and children. Like 10 years ago, that wasn't even a thought. You know, like, would Sidney even trust anybody enough at any point to actually marry them? And would she actually have children? Right? Like. And so the problem is that, like, you know, it's like we were talking about, Jake, how, you know, you're putting too much in the pan, right? And so now nothing's cooking properly, rather than, you know, let things cook. You know, you just so now everything's just still cold and it's taking long, because it's like, okay, you're going to do a Sydney-focused film, a Sydney-centric film. You're going to have Gail Weathers do that. Now you're going to introduce her daughter, who at some point is probably going to be the face of the franchise, because that would probably be the idea, like they wanted to do with Sam. Now Isabel May will be that face. And then, you know, unless they go the Jill route, which I don't think that they will. So now, and you have like 20 characters in this film that you all need to, that you're going to need to, like, some will be throwaways, some will be, you know, Ghostface fodder, like some, but you're going to have, you know, McKenna Grace and some of these actresses and actors that, you know, you're going to need to add some substance to. I don't want, like, oh, here's Sydney's family. Okay, now let's get to the Sydney story with Ghostface. No, I want to know, how is she as a mother? How is she as a wife? How is Joe McHale's character, Mark? How is he as a husband? How is he as a father? Right? How is Isabel May? Is there tension between her and her daughter? Because Sydney's this helicopter parent, overbearing. How is she as a wife? Is she, you know, a little kind of off-putting at times, a little aggressive because of her past? Or is she just like, you know, Susie Miss, you know, Bakery? Like, you know, I want to know these things. And the problem is like, I don't know if they're going to be able to tell and give all those details on top of tell the Sydney story, tell the Gale story, tell the Ghostface story, build up the Colt, whatever. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, as long, see, I agree with everything you're saying. Like, and that's why I'm just like, I can't. I'm itching over here. Yeah, no. My thing about Sydney is that if this is a Sydney story, just like a Scream 4, just like a Scream 2, they can do that. You know what I mean? Like, I think they can genuinely make that all happen if she does have, like, what is the rumors, like she has like 45 minutes of screen time or something like that?
Yeah, like 43, 44, something like that.
That you can do that in that time. If this is a Sydney focused Scream movie, you can make all that work. Because Fate, I'm so with you in the fact that, like, this is a stretch. I mean, listen, I think so many people want to look at Sydney Prescott and say, okay, she's got her life together now. She went through it and now everything's great. But you have to earn that. You know what I mean? You have to earn that with characters like Sydney Prescott. You can't just throw them into that happy situation and then just call it a day. We were talking oh no, hit me.
No, I was just gonna add one thing to it. Like, I know you're rolling, but like, if it was Mark Kincaid, you wouldn't have as much back dialogue. You know, but the problem is they cheaped out on Patrick Dempsey. Patrick Dempsey went on a talk show and said he was coming.
In all fairness, his house burned down the week that he was supposed to get out there.
Oh, really?
I think that,
I didn't know that.
It was part of the, like,
I thought it was a money issue.
No, so it was his house burnt down the week that he was basically supposed to go out to film, and he basically had to cancel. He had to drop out, which is a major shame. It was part of, like, the LA wildfires. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, that makes more sense. But regardless, like, if it was Mark Kincaid, you'd have a lot less backstory.
Yeah.
Because now
100%.
you'd know when they met, so that they at least had a history. Like the running joke all Scream 3 that Mark Kincaid, I bet you're gonna go get some flowers for your little girlfriend, right? Like the whole thing was that he had this like infatuation for Sydney, right?
Yeah.
So you wouldn't have had to explain, the last 15 years of their relationship as much. You still want some minor details, but now it's when did they meet? When did they meet? When did they get together? How long before they had kids? Like, go ahead.
Right.
Dude, I'm with you. Like, I'm so with you on this. The one thing I will give it is, even though this is a rework of it, like, it was clearly going to be Mark Kincaid. Like, you can't argue. I've seen people say, like, oh, it wasn't going to be Mark. Like, that's crazy. And I'm like, no, there's so much evidence that it was.
Yep.
Here's my thing. He
said he was coming back.
Yeah, he literally said he was.
He did say that.
Yeah.
On like Good Morning, what is it? Good Morning America or whatever. Like,
I've had people fight me on this, and I'm like, there's it's not like one interview. There's like multiple interviews where he's talking about like why it didn't happen. He wanted to come back. He was all excited, but it was just his fucking house burned down. It's horrible. This is a problem that I will not blame Scream 7 for. This is just misfortune. Is what it is. There's some other things we might talk about tonight, but honest to God, I think I had something. I totally lost it. He's a cop. Joel McHale's going to be playing a cop. So that's kind of why I can buy into it a little bit. Like, as it stands, it's going to come down to execution, of course. But at least they're starting off in a good place where it's like, okay, this is a character who maybe is trustworthy. Maybe someone who Sidney Prescott could see as, well, okay, this is a good cop. He's defending the law. And I don't know. Like, that you could write that character as somebody that a Sidney Prescott type character could fall in love with and feel safe around. I can see it working. It's just, it all depends on that performance. And Mr. Joel McHale, as we know, is known for his sillier assholery kind of characters that he plays oh so well. So that's why I have my doubts. That's where this could go wrong, is in the performance.
No, I agree with that. And, it's a shame about Patrick Dempsey and so forth, but, we just got to kind of move on. And I agree that this could work. And, in the chat, and by the way, you guys, thank you so much for the comments and so forth. We do see them. I think it was Polar that was saying, they were able to do this balance pretty well in Scream 4. And I agree. It was a Sydney story, but there was a mini focus of sorts on Jill. And of course that was the big okie doke, that Jill, was one of the Ghostface killers. And I think, if Nev has 40 minutes or so and Gail has, was it 25 or something like that? Yeah, I think number one, they're at least telling us that this is going to be a Sydney movie, which I'm excited about, because I think we can't have that imbalance. We got to move on from Sam and Tara, and obviously, if you're going to do that, just have this Sydney focused story. But to me, the only thing that when I hear some comments, and it's folks, and it's even some folks that might be here tonight, is they have to find a way to make it feel fresh. The same way that Scream 4, felt fresh in some ways. And that's because of the fact that it's a Sydney story, but we were also introduced to her cousin and kind of following along her cousin and her cousin's friends. And it was kind of cool. And you still had the OG3 and they were meshing together. And you know what I'm saying? So they have to find a way to kind of make that work. And that's the part where I'm like, I hope they can. Because, Scream, obviously one of the big legacy franchises, just like Halloween, Elm Street, and a couple others. The question is always, how long can you keep going before you really just go off the rails? You know what I mean? The hope, to me, Scream's the most consistent franchise, long-standing franchise. Like all the movies, no movie is shit. You know what I mean? Like there's issues. There's issues for sure, and there's moments where it's like, but I mean, for all the things that Wes had to go through, 2, 3, 4, all the stuff that the Weinsteins were doing, and obviously Wes's death, and you're coming back and you're trying to figure out a way to move forward without him. You gotta give this franchise a lot of credit for being able to give, the quality that it did. And so that being said, here we are right on the cusp of a would-be trilogy. And maybe part of that, at least we know 7 and 8, part of that might also give it that fresh gloss, to the story, because, now we're going to have, kind of this through line. Although, and you guys I know feel this way too, I just hope that 7 does have a beginning, a middle, and an ending. You know what I'm saying? It's a movie that you could watch on its own and you enjoy it because it has those segments, but yet, if obviously connecting to 8, and maybe there's a larger story. So it's definitely a lot to take in. It's definitely a lot to take in, and there is concern. And it's just, like I said, I'm just curious because it seems like as we get closer to having it come out, it seems like you were saying, Fate, you got the boycott and all this. It just seems like there's more and more people that, I'm not saying they doubt it, but they're just saying, how many times is Sydney going to go through this? How many times are going to go through that? You would think, and maybe I'm absolutely wrong, but you would think that mindset is what everyone behind the camera is thinking too. We're going into it again, and we got to figure out a way so that people don't feel like they're so worn out of seeing Sydney being stalked by a friend, a relative, a lover, and what have you. And I think they might have. When we heard that, Kevin went to Nev and said, this is the why, because she wanted to know the why. And he said, this is the why. This is why you're coming back. This is the story. And she loved it. I have this feeling Nev Campbell seems to be the type of actress that is kind of like no BS. You know what I mean? Like, okay, it's good or it's okay. And she really, really liked it. So I don't know.
My thing. So a couple things. One, you mentioned earlier, the Scream 4 element, right? That's what's so frustrating about Scream 5 and 6 is they already did the requel. You wanted to copy anything, copy Scream 4. You had no problem copying Scream 96 in many areas, shot for shot. Why not use Scream 4 as the blueprint on how to do it correctly? Because they did it correctly.
Yeah.
Right. But the other thing too is oh damn, I lost where I was gonna go with that.
That's happening a lot tonight, isn't it?
You'll have a lot on our minds.
These are those moments. Hey, these are those moments that Steven would have jumped in and given us this home run of a thought, like he always did.
Yeah.
Well, it's because you said something specific, Night, that triggered it, and I was waiting for you to finish your thought. But essentially, is with this upcoming Scream movie, right?
Yeah.
You want to have it needs to have purpose, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it feels like they're in a lot of ways. Scream 5 and 6 didn't really have purpose. You know what I mean? It's just kind of here's and I know a lot of people are excited about Kevin Williamson running the script, but it's we've talked about in the past, how much did he change? How much was he able to change, right? That's what now I remember what it was. I'm almost positive that they're going to do the cult route because I almost feel like you have to at this point, in many ways. But also with Sydney, you don't really need a motive, right? In the traditional sense, because Ghostface, every Ghostface, anybody that puts on that Ghostface mask, every single one of them are going to want to kill Sydney Prescott. She's their white whale, right? She's the one. What Ghostface wouldn't want to be the one to say, I did it. And especially if there's a cult route and there's a cult element to it. Imagine walking in, cock of the walk, just I'm the one that did it.
Well, and dude, to go off of that, I mean, listen, they can't possibly not know that there's people who are coming to this film saying, really? They're going to bring Sydney Prescott into the limelight again so that she can get chased around by Ghostface? Her story's been over for years. Right. They know people are coming in with that mindset. If they make the killer's motivation that all these people still want to kill Sydney, that's the funniest fucking thing they could possibly do. That's dude, that's the most meta, just motive to make any sort of fan who's thinking that think, oh my God, I see what they're doing. That's what I love about the original Scream is they knew what was in the heads of horror fans, slasher fans specifically. And they did a play on that. That exactly, like this idea that there's a cult of Ghostface. There's like hundreds, that's an exaggeration, but like maybe 7, 6, 8, whatever, a bunch of people who want to kill Sydney still. I mean, that's a crazy play on that. That's like a way of just saying, oh, actually, fuck you. We're gonna do this. Sydney's our main character, and there's a ton of people who still want to kill her by just focusing a whole new story on that. That to me, like, I'd be sold. I'd be like, okay, I'm sold. This needed to be a Sydney story, and this is a story that needed to be told in this franchise.
Hell, man, they could have different groups of the Ghostface killers, not necessarily working with each other, and they're all, that's their aim. It's like, who's gonna get Sydney? I'm not saying you can have a dozen, but if you had, let's say 4, maybe it's 2 and 2. Or whatever.
And 4 is double what we usually get too. That totally works. You know what I mean? That's the joke. It fits with that.
Right. I think that would be hilarious, but it would also be something that we hadn't seen before, and it puts her in a total different mindset too. You know what I'm saying? Or at least it could, and that would make sense if she's going to have 43 minutes in the film.
That to me is the ultimate way to like close out the Sidney Prescott arc, is to do this last little, like, what is essentially one big meta joke. I mean, that's phenomenal. Like, dude, I'd stand up and clap. Even if it wasn't executed that well or anything, I'd be like, they did it, baby. Okay, this is awesome. That would hold some weight, man. I would love to see that story.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you had, like, that's why I think if you go the cult route, right? Like, I don't, like I've said it before, I don't want like a traditional cult where they're like praying to a Ghostface deity. Right. I want it more like a club, like a club, like an exclusive club, and maybe the way you get in is you have to kill somebody, right? So you kill somebody, take somebody out, and you could even do like robes, like something that they've always wanted to do was like the masks or the robes and stuff like that. Like, what if you had like a system ranking, like after 10 kills you get the white robe, like you have like a like almost like a belt system, like like I think you could do some fun creative things.
You could
for that. And then first, like, imagine like if you're the one that kills Sydney, and then maybe have like an established the cult, and maybe have like you guys are saying like a handful of killers that maybe they're like, dude, I want to be a black belt or wear the black robe or whatever, whatever, and the quickest. I don't want to go through the ranks. I don't want to have to be a white robe and then a blue robe and then a brown robe and all these things. I just want to go straight to like, I want to put on my black robe with like the red Ghostface mask or whatever. And that's that. What's the quickest way to do that? Let's kill Sydney.
See, right? I'm just imagining they have a dojo. Like there's a Ghostface dojo where they all like train at. They're stabbing like pictures of Sydney. Like oh man, I need it.
But I'm saying like, think about it. Like that would be such a meta, funny, like fun kind of motive. It's like they just want to skip the ranks. They just want to get to the top. How do you get to the top? Imagine killing Sidney Prescott. You kill Sidney Prescott, you're jumping. You're famous. You're the most famous Ghostface ever, right? So like, and again, you don't need a motive to kill Sydney at this point. She's Sidney Prescott.
Right.
She's famous.
She is the motive.
Right. Right.
Oh my God. Could you imagine that for the marketing? She's no longer the final girl. She is the motive.
Yeah. Like, like you don't have to have this like long drawn out explanation. It's like, why, it's like what we were talking about with the strangers, right? Why are you doing this? Because you're home. Right? Sometimes the simple motive, the craziness, it's like, why are you doing this? Because you're Sidney Prescott. Why wouldn't we do this? Why wouldn't I want to kill you? I'm Ghostface, you're Sydney, right? That's how it works, right? Like, and that would be just such a simple, fun, just kind of like, it's like the whole, like, blame it on the movies type thing, right? Like, it's just like, why do I want to kill you? Are you really asking that, Sid? I'm Ghostface. Right, you're Sydney. Of course, I want to kill. Every one of us wants to kill you. Like, I just think that's great. You know what I mean?
And look, man, they could even get to the point where they're so focused and obsessed on killing her. There's like infighting.
I mean, you can do all kinds of stuff. Yeah, Ghostface on Ghostface violence.
I mean, it could set up some really cool visuals and some great things that we've never seen in 6 films. In 6 films, some of the things we've never seen before. It could be cool.
Well, and on top of that, could that not also sell that point really well? The fact that there's two different groups of ghost faces going after Sydney, like independently, and then they're like, who are you?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing here? That to me would hit on that meta really well, and I'd just be like, oh my god, this is like, I totally see what they're doing. That's so goofy,
Can you
So
imagine there's a scene where two of them come face to face. Who are you? Who are you? I'm George. Well, I'm Bob. Hey, what's up, George? Hey, Bob. You know,
and they could just have the same motive. Like they're both just trying to kill Sydney, so that the enemy, they're both enemies now. Like they're fighting each other. I mean, that's hilarious. That could totally work.
Yeah. Real quick. I don't know how we got to this point. This is great though. Real quick, just to jump to the chat. Thank you guys so much. We got an anniversary for Jerry. What's up, Jerry? Good to have you here. Glad you're hanging in there, brother. Saying hello, night and fam. Thankful to be here. Thank you so much, man. We appreciate you so much. And Jerry also gifted a membership. Much love, brother. Thank you so much. We got JT in the house. What's up, man? Saying, I know this sounds stupid. Not feeling the logo. Looks generic. Could this be a warning? What do you guys think of the logo?
I didn't like the first one. I like the new one, though.
Yeah.
I like the little scream and the big 7 that looked a little goofy to me. I kind of liked the slash through, the scream, the 7 in the background that feels a little more balanced to me. Yeah. I kind of like, maybe I'm weird, but I kind of like it.
Yeah. What about you, Fate?
Yeah, I think it's it's simple. I mean, it's a logo. Like it's not going to be like, how crazy are they going to get with it? I know there was that rumored logo that was going around about like the flaming 7 or whatever. Like maybe they do something like that and they kind of like maybe this is just kind of like the one on the posters or whatever. I've seen some kind of rumors floating around. That's not like the actual, what pops up in the movie type thing. Obviously everything, is rumor until it's not. But, as far as the logo goes, like, yeah, I think it's fine. Like, all of them have been simple. All of them are just like scream and then it just, so like, but I also like that, like, the slash, it's not just like a straight slash. Like, what was it, Scream 5 or whatever, just had the straight slash. Like, it's like jagged. It's, it's almost like, it's not like, precise. It's more like, it's like tethered, so I wonder if that's like a clue or something. Maybe that's like some kind of like, a little detail that's coming up.
Yeah, maybe.
I will say the Scream 3 logo does go pretty hard though.
Scream 3 one?
Like the big crazy 3 in the back. I mean, I don't know. That's kind of
I like that one too.
Isn't that the one that like the M is more jagged than the others, like, or more pointy than the others, something like that? Isn't that the one? I know one of them.
4.
Like one of them's more like the M is like more like
knifey. Pointy.
Yeah, more pointy. I think it's Scream 3 that's like that.
Could be. But I think this logo. Actually, I think this logo. It looks. Yeah, I'm cool with it. I mean, again, like you said, it's a logo. I mean, it's Scream, and you got a 7 on it, and it's and as long as it has some balance to it, I'm pretty cool with it. But JT, I mean, look, man, who knows? Who knows, man? We'll have to definitely see. But let us know some more what you think of the logo. But I'm okay with it, man. We got Jen coming in. Thank you so much, Jen. Thank you so much for the support and the super chat. Saying she loves Patrick Dempsey. Patrick Dempsey may be the secret cameo and show up at the end as the mastermind. Jen has been on record for 17 years. No, I'm just joking. For a long time, saying that she thought that Mark Kincaid was the mastermind. What do you think, Jake? We've had this conversation before, and Jen is holding strong.
He's like, sexiest man alive, though. Like, I think he's too hot to be the killer.
Have you seen him in Dexter, bro?
I have not seen him in Dexter. I've never seen an episode of Dexter, so I don't know anything about that.
You are missing.
I know,
out, man.
I know. Everyone tells me that. Everyone tells me you got to see Dexter. I don't know. What I'll say though is, Mark Kincaid kind of comes off as like, he's kind of played as a red herring a little bit. He's a goober. He's a good guy. I don't see him being a
goober.
He's a goober, dude. He's like that husband that will do like anything for his wife without question, kind of vibes. Yeah. So I don't know. I like that about him, and I don't see him being. But maybe that's why he is the killer. It's all a facade. I don't know.
Yeah, he's the ultimate actor.
Fate, he's too good.
Yeah, he is too good. Fate, what about you, man?
I mean, Mark Kincaid, like, I mean, he did want to be in Scream 7, maybe be open to be in Scream 8, and so you can have him maybe be the mastermind and orchestrator in that. Maybe he was working with Roman all along, right? Maybe it's Mark Kincaid and not Angelina type thing. I mean, you do some creative stuff with it. A couple things, like, one, it's just like, are we so far removed that people just don't care about his character anymore, right? Like the general, like, would it hit the way that it would have? You know, like if it still was kind of a mystery at the end, but like he's like sitting there eating popcorn and handing out. And, it's like, hey, we're gonna watch a scary movie, Sid. Like, he's like one of the guys there. He's like, he's in the friend zone at the moment, right? Like it's like he's gonna go from that to like kill her. Like if he was gonna kill her, why not like ambush her and kill her at the time when he could have? Like,
okay, I have to mention Mickey's little dance in Scream 2, though. Don't forget he's doing that dumb shit before being revealed as the Ghostface. I'm kidding. I had to bring that up.
And he's doing his clap.
Oh yeah, I forgot
I was like, man, if you were not Timothy Oliphant, I would throw a shoe at you. Oh my God. Yeah, well, Jen, it's a theory. That's all I can say. It's a theory. If it comes true, Jen, I will literally make an official public apology to you on a live stream. I'll call it Scream. Jen's theory is right. That's what the title of the stream is going to be. And you never know. Crazier things have happened. But thank you so much for the support, Jen. We really appreciate you. All right. So we got Sarah in the chat too. What's up, Sarah? And hey to everyone else that's here. Good to have you. And, Wayne, I was thinking this too. He said Thanksgiving, right? Right, Jay?
Oh, that is a good point. I didn't think about Thanksgiving.
Oh, I thought you were holding it inside, man.
Oh, I thought to say that. I thought you were just like, you just didn't want to do the obvious one.
I feel like Mark Kincaid's character, like just talking about the characters specifically, like I just feel like I don't see him being Ghostface personally, but he could. I'm not saying Patrick can't pull it off. You know what I mean? Maybe it's been a while since we've seen Mark. I don't know what he's doing nowadays. He might have lost his mind. It's not too hard for that to happen in like 20 years.
He did something to mess up, obviously, the way Scream 7 is going.
He's got to have a Thanksgiving reference. Like if he actually was to do that, he's got to be like, like throw out some like, how about some turkey?
Yeah. Or hey, it's not cranberry sauce.
Yeah, something like that. Like it's got to be some like terrible cheesy one-liner. Happy Thanksgiving. Boom, and just like, like it's like it's Halloween. Like
right. Real quick too, we got Nightfall. What's up, brother? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Coming in with a super chat. Thank you so much, man. Saying I never trusted Kincaid. He felt like the second Ghostface in 3 to me. Really? Wow. Now so all right, we're gonna go down this road because we're there. Jen and Nightfall have brought us there. What did you feel? I mean, you kind of already said it, Jake, but did you ever feel genuinely that he could have been a Ghostface in 3?
Well, in all fairness, before the reveal, before he shows up at the house, I think there's a little energy of that for sure. I think he does kind of play into the red herring just a little bit because I think you can take the flirting between him and Sydney as like maybe potential setup for a killer. I think when you're watching the film, I could see going down that path. Kind of the same thing with Angelina, even a little bit. She's kind of obsessing over Sydney. She's like, I play you in the movie, and all that fun stuff. That whole bathroom scene, there's definitely some energy there. And who knows? Maybe she's still revealed as a killer in this new film. I don't know. Ooh. So Fate, anything can happen.
Fate, was there ever a moment when you thought to yourself, Kincaid, he's a Ghostface killer?
I personally no. I thought he was like, a couple moments, just the red herring. I didn't think that they were going to actually go down that route. Personally, like, I mean, again, it would have made sense, right? Is Roman really the only solo killer in the franchise, or do they, or is it like every other where he had multiple? And especially, you think of like things that Roman said, right? Like where he told Billy, you need to have a fall guy, you need to have a patsy. Like, so like Roman would do all that and not take his own advice on how to like, set up and become Ghostface, is like something. So it makes sense. And what better kind of guy to, get you out of trouble than, a detective, right? Like that, could cover evidence and do all that stuff. We saw it in Scream 6. So, I like, could it make logical sense? Yes. I just don't think that they're going to go that route. But I will say, like that scene where he gets punched by Ghostface is hilarious.
I know.
It's such a bad, like, I'm sorry, but
is.
it's a terror. Like, it's not, like, you can tell it's a fake punch in it, and the way he,
Yeah.
like, busts himself. Like,
Does he hit the
Yeah,
banister or something really
banister
hard?
thing.
It's so ridiculous.
It looks so
every time I
bad.
watch Scream 3 and I see Ghostface just come out of nowhere and like fake punch him, and he's just
Yeah.
like all like I
Yeah.
crack every
Yeah.
time.
And then 3 minutes later, you got Sydney punching the crap out of Roman. You're like, wait a minute now, Mark.
Scream
You're
3, I will say,
ridiculous.
Scream 3 might be the funniest, like that third act might be the funniest like sequence in like horror history, because you have that Mark Kincaid punch, you have the blunt dewy like bed of
Oh
the-
my
the-
god, yeah,
Dude.
dude.
And then you also
Oh.
have when what is it, Tyson or whatever is running and Ghostface
Yes.
pulls the rug and he's just
Yes.
like, "Ah!" like it's so funny. Like there,
Yeah.
like it just has, and I don't know if that was deliberate. Like
Oh, it was.
which is what I think makes it funnier.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
I would have, like I don't know if it was intended to be like the Mark Kincaid punch. I don't think was
Oh.
intended.
No,
You know
no,
what I mean?
no.
It's like it's just like bad. Like it's just a bad
It is
sequence.
bad.
Like they couldn't have done another take. Like,
Right. I mean, someone didn't watch that and said,
Yeah.
Patrick, this is making you look bad, brother.
Like,
we
come
gotta
on,
we gotta
man. Like,
do
look
better
at it.
than
Like,
this.
it's not your best work, Dr. McDreamy.
I will
Well,
say, and this isn't defending the movie, like they did have to kind of up the campier side of Scream,
Yes.
because they were told, by the Weinsteins, they're like, you pretty much have to, you can't make this a horror movie after, what happened in 1999. So
Yep.
we won't get into it, but yeah, they basically were like, well, what are we going to do? We have to make a slasher movie. What do we do? Well, the other cool
Yeah.
thing about Scream is that it's campy and fun and funny. So let's just
Yeah.
completely lean into that. So I think
Yeah.
it might have been intentional. I wasn't there. I don't know. But if I had to guess, I could see them being like, well, if it can't be scary, it can be funny,
Well, the interesting thing about that, Jake, is that they did intentionally lean into the campiness, because at one point they didn't even want any blood in the movie.
Yeah.
And Wes literally said, I'm not going to do the movie. I'm not going to do the movie. This is a slasher, a horror film, And so they kind of wiggled on that a little bit. But, if you notice, there's only a couple of shots where you literally see the kill like right there in your face, like the knife going right into the victim. And that's because they literally said, we don't want to be anywhere near the controversy. And so they did turn up the campiness and the cheesiness a little bit. That's why it's the most, comedy heavy film in the franchise, which in and of itself is kind of like, they really stunted what Wes would have wanted to do. But I will say there were some kernels of really cool stuff in it. Like, Parker Posey, I thought was fantastic in it. And really, she leapt off of the screen. All those scenes with her and Gail and Dewey, I mean, character-wise, is some of my most fun moments in all 6 films. So there were those moments where even though they couldn't do the violence as much as they want, they did have some great character moments, because each movie they were using less amounts of blood. 2 used, I forgot how much percentage less it was than 1, but it was less, and 3 was even less, because of what was going on. So it's just interesting, man. It really is.
Yeah, it's why I'm a little more apologetic towards 2 and 3 these days after reading more about it, because it's just like, oh my god, like I can't even imagine trying to make these movies and the producers are like, yeah, don't make it a horror film, just don't do that. I another aspect to it is I think that they were like, well, the kids liked this movie, you know what I mean? So if we make it more for them, it'll make more money. I think that's kind of where the producers were coming from there. But that, it's a slash, it's an R-rated slasher. You gotta make it scary. You gotta make it crazy. I don't get that. I think it's a really interesting thing, because I think when I was a kid, at least I know that I was so attracted to horror because I'm just like, this is scary. It's taboo. I shouldn't be watching this. You know what I mean? To not deliver there. You know what I mean? Like I parents are going to hate me saying this, but like kids want to see scary things. It might give them nightmares for 2 weeks, but like they want to see some scary, crazy shit. I don't know. It's my weird 2 cents. I'm sure I'm going to have kids one day and be like, why did I show them Terrifier? That was such a dumb idea. But
Are you gonna be one of those parents that introduce your kids to to horror at like 2. It's like
Yeah.
just lock
They have-
them in a room and just tell them good luck.
Yeah, they have to
you're-
learn the hard way, man.
your 4-year-old son will be watching the first Terrifier coming up to that scene. He just, well, hey.
All right, I'll wait till he's 5. Fine. You guys twisted my arm.
Oh man! Real quick too in the chat, the general is speaking, and she's saying it with pride. I'm with you, Jen. McDreamy is the mastermind. There we are. We got some folks that are definitely on board with this. We also have Lighting Ghosts in the house. What's up, man? Good to see you, man. Hope you've been doing well. Thank you so much for the support. We appreciate it. Rest in peace to Craven. I low-key want Stu to be alive now for him. Well, brother, you are not alone, because I'm gonna tell you right now. We talked about this. Maybe it was on Thursday. If that happens, and especially if we've all seen it, I'm definitely gonna be giving Jake and Tyler a call and it happened. It happened, bro.
I don't know. I don't know how this is. I don't know, but I'll tell you what. If it happens now, my opinion's changed. I'm gonna be a wreck. I'm gonna have tears coming down my face because I'm just gonna be thinking I know how much he would have loved this. So I'm on the Stu train officially, like for realsies this time. I'm like if it happens, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty awesome. I know it would have made Craven very happy. So
no doubt about it. There's absolutely no doubt about it. Jen is coming back in. Thank you so much, Jen. Saying Kincaid was obsessed with Sydney. He wanted her to come to Hollywood so much he used Dewey's phone, and right after said gets a call from Ghostface. He was useless as a cop.
he skated by on his good looks. I'm telling you. I'm so telling you.
Is that what he did?
He
did.
That's my conspiracy theory.
He just walks up to the criminals and is like, "Stop that!" And, they're just
and they do, and they listen.
Oh man, he was so freaking bad, man. Oh my god. And hey, Paula, good to see you. Jay's in the house too. What's up, Jay? And to everyone else that has jumped in here, guys, as we start to come to some of our last phase of thoughts. Jake, let me start with you. What's the worst thing, and maybe you don't just have one, but preferably one. What's the worst thing that could happen in Scream 7 when you go into the theater and you watch it?
I really think I just want to see them not make the same mistakes as the previous entry. That's really my big thing. If they can find a way to improve something I didn't like about 6, I'll be happy. I know everyone looks at Scream, it's the gold standard and all that. For me, I have an issue with pretty much every sequel. Like, I think the only one that I would consider perfect is that original. It's a masterpiece. It changed the game. It was awesome. Pretty much every sequel, and I don't blame we were talking about the producers. Pretty much every Scream film has had crappy producers, and they've meddled with the final product to the point where I feel like it could have been pretty much every single time. I felt like all the sequels could have been better.
Yeah.
If there's anything I'm looking for from 7, I can't expect it to be better than the original because I think that's outrageous. You know what I mean? There's just no way a sequel to Scream is going to have that same impact. But I would like to see them at least fix some things that were wrong with the previous film. If they're able to do that, I'll be impressed. Because, my standards are not the 10 out of 10 perfect masterpiece that is the original. I'm hoping for a really solid 8 out of 10 from this movie. And I'll be happy. That'll be awesome. And that to me would be great to see a great murder mystery, to see some great characters, see some great character work with the legacy characters, something. There's so many things they can improve. And if they do one of those things, I'm sold. I'll be a happy Scream fan.
All right. Fate, how about you? You get into that theater, you're all hyped up. You got your popcorn and your peanut M&Ms and your Dr. Pepper and your slice of pizza and your thing of nachos. Scream 7 is playing. What's the absolute?
Damn. He's like in 6 burgers, 4 fries.
As you usually do at the theater.
He's like a lasagna.
Yeah.
You just have a 20-foot sub.
The Chipotle burrito you snuck into the theater.
Yes.
All to yourself. No one else.
You know how you roll. So what's the worst thing now, realistically speaking? But what's a worst thing that you would encounter with Scream 7?
This becomes like this. Like they copy the Scream 3 route, like they did in like '96, and they follow the trend. They had the revenge motive. They had the boyfriend motive. Like if they have, like Sydney's uncle, like I'm gonna lose my mind. I'm telling you, I will lose my. But the sad thing is, and we said this about Scream 6, right? If they do the Mrs. Loomis thing and blah blah blah, and they did it, like they did it.
Yeah.
It's just like, so I don't put anything past them. Like the worst thing I can imagine is like Roman had a twin brother or Stu had a twin brother or something like that. It's just like I'm worried that that's the route they're gonna go, because I really don't want them to go that route.
Yeah.
Like I said, give me a good, story, good character development, good story. Like again, get back to the basics. Scream 96 was so simple, simple. I mean, I've talked about it before. Like there's literally like 10-minute sequences where nobody dies and you don't even notice it. Right, and it's just like, because just the dialogue's great, the characters are great, you're learning about all these people. Like you can do a good story. The thing that's crazy is like Scream 5 and 6 has been such carbon copy of the past Scream films, but in all the bad way. It ain't copy all like the blueprint. It's like if you're gonna copy anything from it, copy the blueprint. The blueprint's already there for you. So it's just like, so that's probably what it'd be, is like, something like that. Jake's worst nightmare would be Mrs. Loomis is back.
Yeah. You know what makes me sick?
0 out of 10.
It's so funny. I made the video about oh man, what am I blanking? Why am I blanking her name? What's her name? Help me with her name.
Laurie Metcalf.
Laurie Metcalf.
Laurie Metcalf. There you go. Because Laurie Metcalf said that thing, and I was in the video. I was like, I know Jake is gonna love this.
Every time I watch Scream 2, I think of Jake. Every time it comes to the finale, I have this image of Jake just watching it and just going like this.
I'm not even kidding. The last time I watched Scream 2, I turned it off after her reveal. Like it's my least favorite. It is, honest to God, my least favorite part of the franchise. I just don't like that. Mickey is such a good killer.
Awesome.
I'm not going to go on the rant.
I know.
I'm stopping myself. You guys have heard it too many times.
Yeah. No. It well, yeah, that's a whole nother story. But let me just say this for me. And there's a couple things that could be considered worse, but the worst thing for me is that once the film is over, I just go like, that's what they came up with. That's my vibe, is that's what they came up with. You know what I mean? And of course that could be for, a couple of different reasons, but obviously, it's story, because like you said, Fate, in the original, there are huge amounts of time where nobody is getting killed. Yeah. There's no action. There's no fake kills and fake deaths. It's characters living their lives, having great chemistry, good conversation. And that's what is the vehicle that drives us along in 96. And then when things are happening, that's when we kind of key in a little bit more and we actually care. I actually care about Tatum when she's getting killed. But that's because we spent time with her and you got a sense of what Rose was doing with that character. It wasn't a deep character, for sure. I don't know her social security number, but I know enough about her to care when she was getting killed. So, 7 has to really take a page out of that book and make us care about these characters that are going to be around, Sydney and Gail and her family. So Sydney's family, So real quick, guys, in the chat, thank you guys so much for being here. We really appreciate it. Seriously. And Jay, good to have you here. Samantha, thank you for being here as well. Definitely, our friend Steven was so excited for this film. And, like we've said, when we're watching this film, he's going to be right there, man. And like these things, they hit harder, because now it's almost like I'm keyed into the franchise more than I've ever been, which is odd to say because I've loved this franchise since 96. But I feel like, it's like, carrying that torch. Like you said, Jake, your perspective of this film is a little bit different. And if Stu shows up and he just walks by the screen and he's like, hey, guys, you're going to jump up and you're going to cheer, it's just, that's just how it is, man. It's just how it is. All right, guys. Well, listen, we're going to get ready to head on out here. We appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for all the support and the well wishes and everything and the love. We couldn't do this without you. And to be quite honest, we're doing this, for you guys and also for our brother, because that's the way he wanted it, and that's the way we're gonna do it, you know. So, anyways, Fate, Jake, I love you guys.
Love you too.
And,
So much love.
Absolutely, man. And for you guys in the chat, we will catch you guys on the Lethal Collective next week. And as always, the collective has spoken. Peace.